from the novel by Paula Sender, Progeny, available on Amazon and in leading bookstores. Progeny.
Episode 4. Ordo.
Marble steps, smoothed by wear and tear, and creaks creaking from the ceiling in one of the oldest and most prestigious buildings in the city. Contended by various families, it was surrounded by creepy sculptures outside, and inside maintained the same ominous and mournful atmosphere, but toned down with the shadows of the monstrous sculpted figures dancing by candlelight. I was finally going to meet my family, at an age certainly not fresh, as befits certain situations in life. Although my father had hinted at it as a child, I thought this moment, perhaps guiltily postponed, would not come. Perhaps guiltily postponed would never come. I leaned my hand against the wall frescoed with mythological subjects from obscure tales. Dragon-headed serpents, winged bulls with gigantic human bodies. My hand followed the contours as if searching for an ancient truth. Had they once existed? And why did the scriptures not mention them? Having reached the main floor, I walked through a vestibule lined with mirrors and opaque, dusty chandeliers, culminating in a door flanked by red porphyry vases. It was barely approached, but I knocked anyway. Hearing no answer, I was almost tempted to leave, when a shadow from behind opened the door, wide the door, without my being able to picture it.
Good evening, come forward,
exclaimed a female voice. Two approached a round table with only one seat left, so I pulled the velvet-backed chair out of it. The velvet-backed chair, and sat down. The diners had on their faces a mask and a black robe.
Welcome,
continued the voice I heard coming from my right side.
There is no need to introduce ourselves. You know who we are.
It is an honor to meet you. I wasn't sure this moment would ever come, I pronounced in one breath.
The time is ripe. We must reclaim what is ours. Our destiny depends on it.
Our people can boast a memory so remote that the heavenly empire is still in its infancy. No other people can rival our history. Were you able to find the place? Just about.
So you did not cross the border?
No, unfortunately not, I stammered. What does that mean? That we are wasting time? Thundered then another male voice at the head of the table. I understand your impatience, but I have found the one who will lead us straight to what we seek. Meaning? Leave that to me. We will return to world domination as in the past.
Our people do not admit mistakes from their descendants, and before her, someone else has greatly failed us.
Resumed the female voice, lifting a jug with a thick red liquid. I felt behind my back the shadow that had let me in. He pulled the chair where I was sitting towards him and escorted me out.
Venice preserved one of the most important collections of manuscripts of Byzantine culture. After the fall of Constantinople in 1453, many Byzantine scholars were forced to emigrate to Italy, such as the Basilian monks who had been entrusted with the custody of what of the Byzantine library heritage had survived the Fourth Crusade of 1204. They arrived as early as the beginning of the 13th century and up to the 15th, particularly on the Adriatic side. I had drawn a map of their settlements in Abruzzo, Casoli, Ortuccio, Francavilla al Mare, which, thanks to the relationships of these territories with Tuscany, legendary figures of the Greek Oriental culture influenced the Renaissance, especially in the art of alchemy, a sort of magical practice capable, for example, of converting metals into gold and channeling elements into each other, according to the principle of analogy. As above, so below, repeated Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice wise. A stone could, energized, capture the soul of a star, and vice versa. The same man was celebrated with his body as a microcosm within a macrocosm, the universe. And Ficino was the author who had most reconsecrated the authenticity proclaimed in words by the defecting Byzantine scholars. Various of his writings were collected in the Marciana Library in Venice, but they had not been listed for many years, probably lost during the war. It wasn't even four. In the premises of the Zecca, I noticed a square on the wall. It was a map measuring 2 by 2 meters, on which a mound of earth was depicted wrapping around itself. I read the caption, Fra Mauro's Globe, 1450. The first representation of the entire known world before the discovery of America, on sheets of parchment glued to a wooden table. I searched for a tiny semblance of an archipelago that resembled the one on the map, but I could barely locate the Italian peninsula. About an hour before the train left for Florence, and I wandered for what little time I had left around the labyrinthine city, which at sunset took on the appearance of a fairy tale profile in a glass ball. It was the first time I stepped on it. I had a strange sensation of sparkling blood in my veins and temples, but also a vulnerability that the recent accident in the Tiber was not enough to justify. I ran away, but as I continued towards the station, I heard someone's footsteps behind me. I turned. A gondolier was lowering a couple of tourists from the swinging hull against the quay. Thumps, that explains it. I continued after less than 5 minutes, the same rhythmic pawing. I turned again. No one. I took the road to Campo dei Tedeschi, and the words Libreria Foscarini, 1650, were printed on the knocker of a door. The antiquarian bookshop, which had the reputation of having only one copy of ancient books from astrology to literature. Meanwhile, I still heard those footsteps behind me. I entered. A couple of university students were trying to restore order to pages, now dry, recovered from the flood that had also hit Venice last November. I got closer. Deeds of sale of land, houses, when suddenly I made out a torn sheet of Latin, whose writing featured elongated L's similar to T's, and flattened O's like circles. Magna multitudo hominum obstitit extraneo, ab animali in testa eoquod appensum habebat, orientalis lapis niger cum symmetries. I immediately translated it. A large number of men gave the cause to a foreigner with an animal head, because he had a carved oriental black stone, with symmetrical points, Florentia 1494. I asked the boys if they could sell it to me, but they told me that that material had already been catalogued by the Historical Archive, and therefore out of print, but they let me take a photo with my instant camera and, as I put it back in my backpack, I noticed behind me a shadow. I turned slowly. No one. I reached the exit, looked down the alley. Still no one. I went to ask a bartender next to the shop if he had seen anyone enter or exit, but he swore that he hadn't seen a living soul pass through that street that day. But the soul must have passed, and how? Because at my feet I noticed a cigarette butt still lit. I ran to the station, and once at the platform I put my hands in my pockets. A piece of paper. That strange map again. I had inadvertently brought it with me. I looked at her again. Next to the bloodstain, the imprint of the peeling sealing wax tickled my imagination, perhaps imprinted with a truncated curved line.
Paola Sanders Podcast. We'll see you next week.